Chapter 7. The Game Within. The shack was still, silent, like sound had been swallowed whole the second we stepped inside. We didn't move for a while, just stood there, breathing hard, trying to calm the racing panic in our chests. The air inside was thick with dust and something else, something like old sugar and copper. I flicked on my flashlight. The beam barely pushed through the black, but it was enough to see we weren't alone. On the far wall, scrawled in glowing red paint, were the words, "Round 2. Mason muttered a curse under his breath. "How many rounds are there?" I didn't answer. I didn't want to know. The shack began to shift. Not just creaking, shifting. The walls pulsed, like lungs inhaling. The floor rippled beneath our feet like it was made of cloth instead of wood. Then a voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere at once. One must tell the truth. One must lie. A spotlight blinked on in the center of the room. 2 chairs sat beneath it. Between them, a clown. Not like the others. This one wore a black and white suit, checkerboard style. No face paint. Just a porcelain mask with no mouth and hollow black eyes. In its lap, 2 cards. One red, one blue. It raised a hand and pointed at us. "Choose who speaks." Mason looked at me. "What is this?" "A test," I said quietly. "Some kind of game." "I don't like games." "Neither do they." The clown tapped the cards with long, sharp nails. I stepped forward. "I'll speak." The clown nodded. Mason hesitated, then sat in the other chair. The clown held up the red card. "What are you afraid of?" My mouth went dry, but the words came. "Being forgotten," I said. "Like Clara. Like I never mattered." The clown placed the red card on the ground. Then it held up the blue. "What's your greatest lie?" I froze. "My greatest lie?" Mason looked at me. The clown tilted its head. I swallowed hard. "That I didn't see who took her." Mason jerked back. "What?" I stared at the floor. "I didn't tell anyone, but I saw something, someone. The thing with the red smile. I just shut it out." The clown stood. It placed both cards on a small pedestal that rose from the floor. Then it pointed behind us. A door had appeared, dark wood, carved with strange shapes. Above it, a sign glowed. "One step closer." Mason got up, silent. We didn't say anything as we walked through the door. But I knew this. Whatever was waiting on the other side knew us now, knew our fears, knew our truths, and it wasn't done playing. Chapter 8. The Smile That Waits. The door closed behind us with a sound like a sigh. The hallway we entered was different from the others. Narrower, darker, and lined with dozens of picture frames. But the photos inside weren't normal. Each one showed people frozen in moments of panic. Mouths stretched in silent screams. Eyes wide and unfocused. Then I realized they weren't photos. They were windows. Each one looked into a room. And inside every room was a kid. Some asleep, some crying, some standing completely still, as if waiting for something or someone. Mason whispered, "Are they real?" I didn't answer. I didn't want to. As we moved, the walls pulsed with soft, wet laughter. It echoed off the stone, like the building itself was enjoying the show. After what felt like forever, we came to another room. No doors this time. Just an open archway framed by 2 towering statues of clowns. Their faces were cracked, but their eyes were intact. Painted yellow, they glowed faintly as we stepped past them. Inside, the floor was covered in white tiles like a game board. In the center stood a carnival wheel. Faded, rusted, covered in splashes of old paint and something that looked too dark to be read. Above it, a sign spun slowly. "Spin to see." The clown from before, the one with the porcelain mask, appeared again. It stepped beside the wheel and bowed like a magician introducing his grandest trick. Mason stepped forward, jaw clenched. "Fine, it'll spin." I reached out. Wait, too late. The wheel creaked as it turned. It spun faster than it should have, like something was pushing it from within. Then it began to slow. Tick, tick, tick. It stopped on a red wedge labeled, "Remember." The lights flickered. Mason gasped and dropped to his knees. "Mason?" He didn't answer. He stared straight ahead, but not at me, at something I couldn't see. Tears streamed down his cheeks. His mouth moved, whispering something over and over. I didn't mean to leave. I didn't mean to leave. I didn't. Then he screamed. It echoed down the corridor like it was trying to tear the place apart. I grabbed his shoulders. Mason! Snap out of it. The clown snapped its fingers. Mason blinked, then shuddered. He looked at me like head just woken from a nightmare. Your turn, the clown said. I wanted to say no. I wanted to run. But something told me it wouldn't let us leave unless I did. I stepped forward. My hand trembled as I grabbed the wheel and gave it a push. It spun, and stopped. See, the tiles under my feet lit up one by one, until they formed a trail leading to a mirror. I didn't want to look, but I had to. In the reflection, I didn't see myself. I saw Clara, tied to a carousel pole. Eyes empty, mouth moving soundlessly. Behind her, a shape loomed. The smile was wide, too wide. Its face was blank, except for the red paint drawn into a grin. And it was watching me. The mirror shattered. I staggered back. The clown clapped slowly. Good, it said. You're learning the rules. Another door opened behind the wheel. This one was shaped like a grin. To move forward, we had to walk through its mouth. I looked at Mason. He nodded. We stepped through the smile. And deeper into the game. Chapter 9, The Hollow Parade. The moment we stepped through the mouth-shaped door, the air changed again. It smelled of stale popcorn and something burnt. We were on a street now, or something pretending to be one. The buildings were cardboard cutouts, thin and wobbling in the breeze. The sky above us was pitch black but starless, as if the world had been turned inside out. And then we heard it. The music. Marching band drums. Warped trumpets. A wheezing tuba. All out of tune. All coming closer. Mason gripped my arm. What now? I didn't answer. I was too busy watching the fog part ahead of us. A parade was coming. But not a normal one. These weren't people. They were mannequins, hundreds of them, dressed in faded circus costumes, some missing limbs, others with faces painted in screaming grins. They marched in stiff, jerking movements, as if someone was forcing them forward. At the front of the parade, a figure danced. Not walked, danced. A clown in a tattered ringmaster's coat, spinning and bowing with exaggerated glee. His face was a blur, literally. Every time I tried to focus on it, it shifted. 1 second smiling, the next hollow, then stitched shut. In his hand, a scepter made from a broken carousel horse. He stopped in front of us and bowed. Ladies and gentlemen, the audience has arrived. The mannequins stopped behind him. Then he pointed the scepter at Mason. Do you believe yet? Mason clenched his fists. I believe this is messed up. The ringmaster laughed. A sound like cracking wood and children's giggles. Then let's test your belief. He snapped his fingers. A spotlight appeared above us, and a stage rose from the street. On it, 2 cages. One held a clown doll, still, silent. The other held something that made my stomach twist. Me, or someone who looked like me, eyes wide, hands bloody, scratching at the bars. What is this? I whispered. The ringmaster twirled his scepter. One is your memory. One is your fear. Choose which to save. The other will vanish. Mason grabbed my sleeve. Don't. But I stepped forward. I had to choose. The doll or the boy. My hands shook. If I chose the wrong one, would I lose something real? Or worse, take something false with me? Then I remembered the last note. Fear feeds. Truth frees. I turned to the cage with the doll. I choose the memory, I said. The boy in the other cage began to scream. The mannequin parade began to wail. The ringmaster's face twisted in delight. And the world shattered like glass. We were falling again. No up, no down. Just the sound of laughter getting louder and louder and louder, until it stopped. And we landed, hard, in a room I recognized. Clara's room. But Clara was gone. Only one thing sat in the middle of the floor, a jack-in-the-box, slowly turning. The handle clicked once, twice, 3 times, and the lid popped open. Inside, another note. Final round. Chapter 10. The Last Laugh. The Jack-in-the-Box sat open, its paper clown head staring up at us with a frozen grin. The note lay folded neatly inside. I picked it up with shaking hands. It read, "One final choice. Win or join the show." Below that, an arrow, pointing to the bedroom closet. Mason looked at me. "Don't say we're actually doing this." I nodded. We came this far. The closet door was slightly ajar, like it had been waiting. As I stepped closer, the air grew heavy, thick with something that felt like sleep and sadness and dust. I pulled the door open. Inside was a tunnel, not a normal one. The walls were soft, like the inside of a throat. The floor pulsed. The further I looked, the more I felt like I wasn't staring into a space, but into something alive. We crawled in. The tunnel closed behind us. We kept moving forward until the tunnel opened up into a circular chamber. It was the heart of the nightmare. A ring of mirrors surrounded us. In each one, I saw a different version of myself. Younger, older, scared, laughing, screaming. And in the center of the room stood a throne. On it sat the clown. The first one. The one who waved at me all those years ago. He wasn't just a clown anymore. He was everything. Taller than a man. Skin like painted rubber. Eyes like molten gold. And his smile. His smile was real now. It stretched across his entire face, filled with teeth that clicked like keys on a typewriter. He didn't move, but I heard his voice in my head. "You've played well, but only one can leave." Mason stepped forward. "What does that mean?" The clown's voice curled around our thoughts. "One wins. One becomes part of the game. A choice. Always a choice." I looked at Mason. He looked at me. Then I remembered Clara. I remembered her eyes on the carousel. Her scream. I turned to the clown. "I want my sister." The smile faded. For the first time, the clown frowned. "She was chosen long ago." "I choose again," I said. I pulled the last note from my pocket. "Fear feeds. Truth frees." I threw it at the clown. "Then erase the truth. I'm not afraid of you anymore." The mirrors shattered. The ground split. The clown screamed. Not just in anger, but in fear. The light exploded from the cracks in the floor. And in that blinding moment, I saw her, Clara, reaching out. I grabbed her hand, and the world collapsed. I woke up on my bedroom floor. Morning light streamed through the window. Mason sat beside me, clutching the Jack-in-the-Box. We both looked around. No balloons, no notes, no music. Gone, but not forgotten. Clara was back. She sat on my bed, pale, silent, but real. Her eyes met mine, and she whispered, "It's not over."